The plight of Britain's lonely pensioners was recently thrust into the spotlight when Health Secretary Jeremy Hunt described it as a source of national shame.
According to government figures, as many as 800,000 people in England are chronically lonely, with some 5 million people saying that television is now their main form of company.
Well, here to talk about this problem and hopefully help you with some of yours is Esther Rantzen. It's lovely to see you,
Welcome,
Esther.
Thank you. They're called the Forgotten Million, hundreds of thousands of lonely people, and you have admitted that on occasion you are one of them.
Yes, I think loneliness is really about loss, because there are a lot of people who are alone and quite happy with their own company, and I've met some fabulous older people, some of them, who actually have said, well, I've never felt lonely. But for some of us, losing a partner, or when you've been the centre of a busy family and suddenly your children grow up and you're alone in a house, and maybe you lose a job where you've been relied upon, or you can lose one of your senses. You know, I've had lots of letters from people who are beginning to lose their sight through macular degeneration or losing their hearing. Loss of a driving licence, you know, you lose your independence. And I've had the most touching letters from people. I've never forgotten a lady who wrote to me, Ellen, wrote to me and she said, I'm an optimist by nature and I need to be, because sometimes I feel my life is pointless and I'm a waste of space. And you know that we've just launched the Silver Line Helpline, I can tell you, for the first time.
Yes, how did it do? Because this launched yesterday.
Yes, absolutely. I might sing to you if you're not good. 0800 470 80 90. 0800 470 80 90. That'll give your lawyers a nervous breakdown.
In case you didn't get the tune, we'll link to that and the many other age charities there are, because actually Age UK is one of our Tech Santa charities.
Indeed,
this year
and they
well,
run a befriending helpline.
Yeah.
But the thing about the Silver Line, we launched it because there isn't anything open 24/7. And you know, in our first 24 hours, we have had more than 3,000 calls.
Wow.
And 100 calls between midnight and 7 in the morning. And those can be very lonely hours. So I want to say to your lovely viewers, if you don't get through, if you ring us, it's free, it's confidential, it's there 24/7, it's going to be there all over Christmas, all over next year. So be patient with us, because people are ringing in great numbers right now.
Let's go to the calls, because we've got Norman, who's on the line. Hello, Norman.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning, Norman.
You say that you live 2 hours away from your mother-in-law and she's in her 90s.
Yes, that's correct.
Very difficult to visit her. She lost her husband 10 years ago and she won't travel.
That's right.
So you're at a bit of a loss as to know how you can involve yourself more in her life.
Absolutely. She values her independence and she refuses to allow any strangers into her house.
Which is very difficult,
Yeah.
and so often the case.
Understandable, actually.
Yes, well now, we've done a survey, Norman, for the launch of the helpline, and we found actually that 2.5 million people admitted to being lonely. There is a stigma attached to loneliness. Your mother may feel lonelier than she's prepared to admit, even to her family, Norman. But the good news is that 9 out of 10 of them said that the best remedy for loneliness is a good chat on the phone. 1 in 4 said they don't get a good chat on the phone, ever, really. But I don't know how often you ring her.
Well,
How often do you call her, Norman?
we phone regularly every other day, basically. But it's you know, I mean, she's 90, she can't get around, she's disabled. And of course, she's lost a lot of her friends and neighbours.
Well, the phone, Norman, is really, really important, because what you can do is talk about her day, talk about memories that you've shared together, and make her feel valued. And the thing about loneliness is that it erodes self-confidence. And if you were to go onto the internet, you might find that your local authority has got a list of the resources that are available to her, if she wouldn't mind you contacting them.
Well, we've done that. And as I say, whenever we've tried to help and we've arranged for people to call around, she refuses to allow them into the house. Partly because of security. She says she doesn't trust anyone. You know, it's I suppose it's a throwback to the old days when you know, people valued their home with their castle, as it were.
Well, of course, and then she would have been able to have left her door open, and the neighbours would have wandered in, and you know, unfortunately, that's the sad way that the
Norman,
times have changed.
We've got a bank of Silver Line friends, and what they are going to do is make regular booked calls once a week to people and create a real friendship. So if you could tactfully suggest to your mum that there is this new helpline, that it's free, that it's confidential, and that if she would like to ring at any time of day or night, they might be able to match her with somebody who becomes a friend, a telephone friend for her.
Would she use a telephone?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she has got one by her side, and she can use the telephone.
So
yes.
that's definitely something that, if she might
well,
feel a little...
we will certainly try and go down that route again, but
Yeah.
as I say, we have attempted it before, and
it is
she's been very reluctant to
hugely
get involved.
difficult. Do you have a large family?
Yes.
Because sometimes it's quite nice. I know that within our family, it's quite nice if you get a call from someone else.
Exactly.
If you get different people calling you, so
Yeah.
you never know, even if it's only for 5 minutes, that you get someone who's a younger member of the family, or someone that, I haven't spoken to you for a while. So you're never quite sure who's going to give you a call.
And the point about the Silver Line Friends is because you know how Samaritans liberates people, Childline liberates children, because you aren't part of the family circle, people can confide in you feelings, and our surveys show that an awful lot of people feel that they don't want to be a burden. You see, that may be part of the problem.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that might be worthwhile, Norman. If you stay where you are, because we're going to put all the details on the website anyway. But if you hang on where you are, then we'll make sure that you've got that phone number.
Okay.
All right,
I did
thank you,
sing
Norman.
it to you, but it was rather a painful noise. I don't know whether you actually got the number.
Let's move
Carry
on to Gayle now. Good morning to you, Gayle.
Yes,
Are you there? Now, you're worried about your aunt, aren't you?
I am, very much so.
So tell me the reason for this, because you try and get up to see her. She lives quite far from you.
She does, yes, a good distance away. I mean, it takes me nearly all day to get there. But last year she had a nasty fall, and before that she used to go out a lot. She used to catch the bus into town and things like that. But now she's become very homebound because she's frightened, one thing, to go out in case she has another fall. And, you know, she has family up there, but, you know, families have things to do. And then she has also family a few hours away. But as I say, we all have things to do. I'm the only one that's retired, so I feel that I can get up there, but not as often as I would like to.
Yes.
And I do worry about it, especially in the winter.
OK, well, the good news is there are lots and lots of charities and other organisations that have been set up specifically to reach out to people. Did you say she was your aunt?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Townswomen's Guild are enormously outgoing and friendly. Contact the Elderly. I don't know if you know of them.
I don't. I do know she goes to Darby and Joan once a week.
Who used to be Jack and Jill. I remember them well. Darby
Yes,
and Joan. Right,
and someone
OK.
takes her there because, as I say, she's very frightened about going out on her own now.
Yes, well, understandably, because one's bones get a bit fragile. You should have seen me on Strictly Come Dancing. It was a bit of a nightmare. But I do think that there are now networks of volunteers that would like to help. Local church often provides volunteers, even if people aren't regular churchgoers, and you can meet people and have a nice chat. I think what people like is a cup of tea and a laugh. You know, I talked to a lovely old thing in, I shouldn't call her that, should I? A
Not
lovely
really.
lady, a madam, recently, and she was disabled, and she was absolutely uncomplaining until the moment when I said to her, well, what do you do for fun? And the whole concept took her aback, because she didn't do anything for fun.
Yeah, that's a bit like my aunt.
Yeah.
Well,
So sad, isn't
there
it?
is,
So
there
sad.
are these networks. If you go on to, if you'll pardon me mentioning a proper noun, Google,
Yes.
if you go onto the internet, you will see that your local authority should now be listing all the various organisations, including volunteers.
Well, it's interesting, actually, because Jackie emailed us in and she said, please can you advise how I can get in touch with lonely people in my area?
Yes.
And that's the other thing, that's
help.
a big thing that we've been doing this year for Tech Santa, is that take a moment. If you think you have got, I've got a spare afternoon, doesn't matter what age you are, and you can get in touch with charities that can put you in touch with those vulnerable, lonely people, then you yourself could do, that could be your moment to go visit.
And there are some terrific charities. The RVS, who used to be the WRVS, run armies of volunteers doing all kinds of different things, reaching out to older people. Age UK, of course, sometimes locally they're known as Age Concern. I'm going up tomorrow to talk to Age Scotland because they're going to deliver the Silver Line. It's going to be the Silver Line Scotland, in Scotland, of course, with devolution and all. So there are fantastic charities, and I do think there is this huge upwelling of goodwill of people who recognise that isolated and vulnerable older people have done so much during their lives for us. They've really contributed to their families, to their work, perhaps to the Second World War effort, all sorts of things. We mustn't desert them now.
No,
Absolutely.
I agree.
Thank you so much
Thank
for coming.
you.
Gayle, I hope
Pleasure.
that helps. Thank you. And oh, I think she might have gone. But nevertheless, if you are one of those elderly and vulnerable people, then make sure you avail yourself of this particular helpline. But also, if you do have some time, then it's so invaluable that you yourself get involved if you're able-bodied and just spend half an hour every so often and go and drop in.
And may I just remind them of the number without singing it?
We'll put it on our website. It's all fine. We'll make it much clearer.
You see, internet, older people don't always, you know, pick up the internet.
Well, I think we're actually going to put. We've got a.
Can you put
phone
it
number as well?
across
Look,
my chest?
There you
my
go.
ample
That's
chest?
our number. Contact our number.
But
because
our
that-
number is slightly different. It's 0800 470 80 90.
And to the lawyers, I try to stop her.
And why? We're a charity. We're a charity.
hell
We just
with it.
want people to reach us.
Absolutely,
Thank you, no,
I
I
absolutely agree.
agree.
So yeah, do get in touch. You can find information on everything we've just discussed with Esther on our website.
We're back after the break.